Hey, I'm Barry from Sunken Mine Railroad, and welcome to my 20th video on the restoration of the Märklin 8910 Toporama. And if you've been following me, you'll have seen most of the buildings created and modeled. And you can watch the series if you're a big Märklin Z-scale fan. And this is sort of the video I've been waiting to do and putting off till last, and it's really the building of the Göppingen train station, which the train station, at least from what I've been able to find on the internet, was built in around 1960 or the early 60s and was very modern. It was Banhof design and super modern looking. And from what I can gather, in 2018 underwent a restoration, which took a long time. They built a subterranean parking garage to keep the cars underground, and built a really nice patio area for people to gather, and it's really pretty now. But having said that, my dad's layout had chunks of this, and somehow I managed to hold on to the pieces. Here's the remnants of what was on the layout, and it's really been destroyed. I had a box of the stuff that broke off the kit, the layout, and just held on to it for years. This set, as I mentioned in one of my earlier videos, the entire set was in a flood in Milford, Connecticut in the 90s. So I waited many years to do the restoration. Having said that, I actually have a bunch of these kits, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But this one I found in Seattle when I was visiting there for business, and I walked into a train store, and this was just sitting on the counter, and they didn't know what to do with it because it's not N scale. So I bought this for $10, which was awesome. And I thought, well, maybe I'll just restore this one. And then I went to the internet and I found another one. So I bought one on the internet, and this is the original packaging. And then one of the problems was this was missing one of the trees. It was missing the beige tree, which had these parts on it. So I had to go out and buy another one. So I ended up buying a second one. So I actually have two kits and a fully assembled one. So with all of these parts, this is going to be my goal. The goal is I'm going to build the kit the way it's came out of the box. 100% stock. I'm not going to really paint it because that's the way this kit was done in the early 70s. And then what I'm going to do is build a second kit of the station the way it stands today. And I've spent a lot of time on the internet trying to figure out. I'll put this on, but the newer station has a beautiful awning that looks a lot like the clear glass of the platform. So I've got an extra platform I'm not doing anything with, and I'll build that, and then I'm going to paint it and try to use accurate colors. That's actually the hardest thing. If you live in Göppingen or near there, and you could take a few decent photos of the outside and the inside of the building, that would be super helpful, because I'm going to try to recreate this building the way it stands today, and I would appreciate that and maybe call you out in a future video. But there's a really nice walk area with these beautiful wooden benches, which I'm going to replicate. And then the other thing is, online I actually found that there's a maroon Wackler KOF switcher in the front yard area, and I found one of these. It's been 3D printed. It's really small, so I'm going to paint this maroon and put this in front like the new building. So you'll see the building, and then you'll see this little tiny locomotive. It'll be off to the side here. It'll be a lot of fun to do that. So what comes in the box is the decal sheet, which has the interior of the station, and that one's in pretty good shape. I have two of those. One's in better. The ambiguous Märklin flocking material. Here's the roof section with one of the clocks, and here's the clear plastic area. Here's the blue pieces. the window frames and some of the other white interior walls. And here's the light blue outside facade with another clock. And here's more of the roof pieces. Here's the directions. Here's the cream parts that this other kit is missing. And then here's the base. One of the things to know about the base is there's spaces for 4 light bulbs. So that's what I've done in the layout. I put 4 bulbs in here. And I want the whole thing lit up, and it's going to be really pretty. So that, oh, and also this tiny little Göppingen sticker, which I will use. So that's the whole kit. Here's the instructions, and they're pretty straightforward. Again, not the most complex kit, but one of the biggest kits that Märklin made at the time for Z-Scale. If you look at the layout of the real building actually extends out on both sides, which I would like to do, but I don't really want to change this layout too much. If I had to extend the building out here and here, I'd have to start moving things around. And again, minimally, I want to build 2 versions of this, and I probably won't glue it down. So when I do, I'll put the original one on, take some photographs, take that off, put on the newer style one. But again, if anybody lives near there, can give me some photos of the station, especially the color of the front door, some straight-on photos of the inside and outside. Shoot me a message on this YouTube video, and we'll connect somehow. A couple things that I did in prepping is I glued I glued the paper on the inside, and I glued this frame in position. One thing I noticed, because of the age of this paper, I had to prep the plastic with some Loctite spray adhesive. You can get this at Home Depot or any place. And I just gave a very light spray to the plastic and then glued this down and then X-Acto knifed it in so it looked good. I meant to film that and I just forgot. So here's where I am right now. A couple things to make note of this kit is that it fits together fairly well, but there's a couple of things that just don't measure up right, so I'm kind of trying to make adjustments. The first thing is this side piece here has another wall on this side that if you put it in position splits the clear window. It doesn't look like a mistake, but the clear window is too big. There's no slot in there. So what I did was, hopefully you can see that. What I did was I reduced. Let me get it in the right position, right like that. I just cut the wall down very slightly, like about 1/16 of an inch off the edge of the wall, so it would fit. And then again, it splits the window right in the middle. It doesn't look like a mistake, but it's just kind of odd. And then on the back side of this, there are a couple of other walls that fit in like this, and they're going to be glued down like this. And then it looks like they're meant to be something. Looks like there was supposed to be something here and here, and I may put benches there in the future. I'm not going to glue the roof down on this so I can add people to it, because there's a lot you could do with this station once you put it together. And again, these are the 4 lights. One other thing that I noted, and I'll pull out the other station to show you what this looks like. And one thing I had to do was there was a huge mold. I don't know what you call this, like sort of where the plastic enters the mold, right here in the middle of this platform. And what I had to do was, using a Dremel and some sandpaper, is I sanded it down. There we go. I sanded that down until you can't see it. So this is the way it was supplied right here. And then I went in and I used some a Dremel, and then I used some very, very fine sandpaper, so you can't see that detail. It was just sort of weird. It looks like maybe a fountain, but honestly, you should get rid of that. Let me just start to glue this together, and I'll speed this up a little bit so you don't have to watch me do this for 40 minutes. One of the decisions that you need to make is, well, which one of these clocks do you want to use? There's two clock. The kit came with two clocks. One's in light blue and one's dark. I kind of like the contrast of the dark clock. I think it matches the box better. But some of the earlier photos show this with the light clock. So I'm going to stick this. And then the station has a clock on the inside of the station on this wall right here. Right, there's a clock right there. So I think what I'm going to do is do the dark clock on the outside, and then I'm going to do the light clock on the inside right about here. I'm just hitting a tiny roadblock here because again, this isn't square, even though the parts are properly mounted. So I'm gonna put this guy just like that. And that'll work. You won't see any of this anyway, so it's just kind of odd. And then the last step is the awning that goes right here. And I'm going to do a little detail here, paint, and I'll be done with this. This is almost the last building in the series, and then I'll start working on the coffee table part. So that'll be something that'll be fun to watch. I believe that goes like that. fantastic. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.